Hello and welcome to Upstack America's Oracle EBS Financials Functional Training. My name is Bob and I'm the lead senior consultant for Upstack America. And with me today I have Victor, who is also a senior consultant. And today we are handling lesson 21 of accounts payables. Victor, please walk us through.
Thank you, Bob, for the introduction. And welcome everybody to this lesson in Oracle Financials Functional Training Series. In this session, we are going to see how to take a payment process request to completion. And we are also going to see whether the changes we made to our format payment and the template attached to it were made once we see the check output, the report output. So we saw how to terminate a payment process request, okay? Once we follow this path. Now we are going to see this other path whereby we submit the payment process request and then we go all the end to confirm it. There are various steps along the way which you can select, and we are going to see all of them. So once you submit the request and the report output, you've looked at it. The next step you do, once you move forward, you can record print status. You can say that you want to go ahead with the payment process as it is, or you can decide to reprint if the output was not correct. And then the next step is to finish or to confirm, but you also have this option here whereby you can record any checks that were skipped or spoiled, and we're going to see how to do that. Each of these steps is going to make sense once we see this process on the system. And let's head over there straight away. Okay. So this is our current session. And what we need to do now is go to Payments Manager. So what we need to do is submit a new payment process request, so we can start this process from the beginning. So we are already familiar with what to do to submit a payment process request. We go to this tab and then we submit a single request. And then we create all the features for this request. So let's give this payment process request a name. We can call it Maskani Developers Pay Run 2. We have a 1. Let's go with the scheduled payment selections criteria. We'll leave this date as they are. I believe we have unpaid invoices whose due dates are before this date here, so that's good. Maybe we can specify our operating unit, which is Maskani Developers. So that's good enough for the selection criteria. Now let's go to payment attributes. Under payment attributes, we remember what we have to enter here: the bank account. Everything is Maskani. Payment document should also be Maskani checks. Payment documents is picked in conjunction with payment process profile. The one we're using is Maskani check payment process profile. for me. You have yours which you're using. And then we said we have to enter an exchange rate, even though we are not doing mixed currencies right now. This is also Maskani corporate. So this is our payment process request. We don't need to enter anything for these other tabs. And we can go ahead and submit this. You have this confirmation at the top. And we can go back to the home tab. And our payment process request is still processing. You can click on this refresh tab and wait for it. We can also go to the SRS screen. So this is the report that was produced by that payment process request, and we can view output. So these are the scheduled payments that were selected for these two invoices. I believe these are the same ones we've been using. We didn't complete our last payment process request, so these invoices were released. They were not paid. The check format looks familiar, but we can see these changes that we made to our template have been actualized here. So that's we have already seen one thing, which is how to change those, to change this format by changing the template. And you can see that our changes were actualized when we did that, when we changed the template attached to that format. Let's go back to the payments manager. And so we can see need action here, 1. So our request was completed. You can click on this button here, and this will take you straight to the Take Action tab. You can see more information about this process request. One payment is being done. It's paying 2 documents payable. You can see the check number being used is 6. And this is the operating unit and the amount. So we have all this information here. So let's click on this Take Action button. We are also familiar with this page. So we have submitted this payment process request. We can either terminate or confirm. There's actually no button that says confirm here, but rather we have this print button. So we talked about client side and server side printing. And we said that from this page here on the report viewer, I'm viewing this on Internet Edge, Microsoft Edge right now. We can print this to whatever printer has our checklists, all right? So client side. However, in order to go and confirm this payment process request, to take it to completion, we have to go through this page. In this page here, we also have to enter this printer option. So this is the server side printer. This is a required field. So even though we're not using a server side printer, we have to enter a value here. Okay. So even though we are going to print from the client side, you still have to enter a printer here so that we can be able to move forward with this payment process request. So what usually happens is that here you can have you can enter a printer or a value, no print, which is like a dummy printer, which just allows you to move ahead from this page. Okay. So in the implementation that you might be doing in the field, you'll have if the printing is going to be taking place from the client side, then you'll have a dummy printer when you're maybe training end users on how to do this process. So you'll have this server-side print and no print that can be created, or whatever it is going to be called. So we enter this value here so that we can proceed and select print. Okay. Now, once we do that, another request is launched, like this one. Okay. So we're going to print from here, but another request has been to produce another format payment instruction has been sent. And we can go and you can see here the second one, and it's been completed with a warning. First, let's see the output. So you can see it's the same thing. However, what is the reason for the warning? So it's a problem with the printer down here. The printer or class was not found, which is fine because we're using a dummy printer. This is a printer that really doesn't exist. But we had to do that so we can move forward. Okay. So let's go to need action again. And click on that button there again. And we have the take action button is clickable. And the status here is submitted for printing. Before we had ready for printing. So let's click on take action. Now going back to our slides, we have done this. We clicked the print button. Now what are the next options that we have? We can do a reprint, or we can record the print status. So if you're going to reprint for whatever reason, maybe there was a mistake in the printing, you can just click this, and you will start over again from as if you you clicked on the print button. However, if you want to move forward, you go to record printing status, record print status. Okay. So let's select record print status. This is the page that you get when you select record print status. What's the information here? It says one check was printed. Okay, this is the document number. If you want to record any spoiled documents or skipped documents, this is a place to do it, right? We are going to talk about this separately, but right now we don't want to do that. We don't want to record any spoiled or skipped documents. So in order to finish, we can click on this, continue. what message do you get here? Are you sure you want to confirm? This action cannot be reversed. You should not proceed with this action unless you are sure that all documents with the status of printed was successfully printed. The payments will be marked as complete and the payment documents will be recorded as issued. So once you apply, the payments will be completed. And it says if you complete and discover any problems, you need to void the payment. Okay, so this apply button finalizes this whole process, whereby you say everything was printed correctly, all the checks were printed correctly, and you want to finalize. So if we click apply, then print status confirmed as complete for payment instruction 53178. So we have taken that payment process request to completion. And if you look at that invoice right now, or those invoices that were paid, you will see the status confirmed as paid. Okay. So this is the path we have followed. Submit payment process request. We went to print. We recorded our print status, and then we confirmed. All right. Alternate paths are to go to print. Okay. If you want to do a reprint, then you select reprint, and you will come back here. Okay. Which means you look at the payment instruction again. If it's fine, then you can go ahead to record print status. If you go to record the print status, and then you have skipped or spoiled documents, which I said we are going to talk about, then you can put in there, record the documents that were skipped or spoiled. Okay. And then after you have updated that, you confirm and complete the payment process. And we will talk about what actions are taken in regards to any documents you record as skipped or spoiled. So these payments have been done. This payment has been done. It was one payment of two invoices or two scheduled payments. If we want to go back in any way, we would have to void this payment. To void this payment is just how you would void a normal payment. Okay. You can go to the payment screen. You can search for those payments. Can even search for them by payment process request, which I believe was Maskani. Developers pay run 2. And you can see here the payment. Okay. You can look at payment overview. Can see the document number here. Can see the date when it was paid, the payment process request, and the amount. So if you want to void these payments, then you go to actions and then void. All right. When you void a payment, what happens? It's as if you never made that payment. You can also select what you want to do with the invoices. So if you leave this as none, nothing will be done to the invoices, and they'll be left open and can be picked up by the next payment process request. If you put a hold on them, then you cannot continue to be paid until the hold is removed or the reason for the hold is corrected, or you can go ahead and cancel the invoice, which means it's not a valid invoice anymore. All right. So maybe we can void this payment. The reason why I would do that is so that we can use the same invoices for our next demonstration instead of having to enter any more new invoices. I can void this payment. It was one payment, so both of them were voided, and you can see the results here. So if we do another payment process request, which have the criteria that will pick up these invoices, then they'll be available to be picked up. So now let's talk about skipped or spoiled documents. So when we talk about skipped or spoiled documents, what are we saying? For spoiled checks, for example, you can be printing when you're doing your printing, and you're printing maybe more than one check, right? So maybe like 3 payments. So when you're printing, maybe the first check is printed okay. The second check is torn. Sometimes the check gets like stuck in the printer or something like that, or is torn. And then the third check comes out okay. So the second check was spoiled, right? You can record that second check as spoiled. And what that does is that when you complete the payment process, when you confirm it, because we said, once you record this, then you can go ahead and complete the process. So you record this and then you confirm. Once you do that, then the payments which were on that spoiled check are not made, and the invoices which were being paid are released, so they can be picked up by the next payment process request. Okay, so check number 2, which was spoiled, the invoices which were paid using that check will not be paid even once you confirm. So the payments which are being made for check number 1 and check number 3 will be made. However, the invoices for check number 2, which were being paid by check number 2, will not be paid, and they can be picked up by the next payment process request or the next pay run. So that's the importance of recording the spoiled checks. So, I mean, the next one is skipped checks. And what happens with skipped checks is, for example, you're also printing. Let's use the same example as for spoiled checks. You're printing 3 checks, okay? But when you're printing the physical check number 2, is skipped by the printer. So whatever payment was supposed to go to check number 2 is printed on check number 3. So check number 2 is still available. All right? So you can have a situation such as that. So in that situation, it is also important that you record the skipped check. What happens is, first, Oracle notes that physical check, we said that Oracle tracks the physical and the system numbers, okay? So that you can know that this invoice was paid on this particular check. First, Oracle will know that particular check number 2 was not used, so it's still available and it can be used for a different payment if it's put back in the printer maybe correctly. The other importance of this is that Oracle now records where the actual payments were made. So we said that check number 2 was skipped and the payment which was supposed to go on check number 2 went to check number 3, the physical check now instead. So Oracle will also record that this particular payment which was supposed to go on check number 2 now went to check number 3, so that there's that congruence, okay? So that is the importance of recording skipped checks and also spoiled checks. So now what we are going to do is we are going to go and run another payment process request and see how we can record spoiled checks and skipped checks. Okay, so we on this payment process request tab again. Let's submit a single request. We can call this Maskani developers pay run 3. We're going to leave the dates, specify our operating unit. Let's enter the payment attributes. And we want to use this Maskani check and enter the exchange rate, Maskani corporate. So that's good, and we can submit this payment process request. Let's wait for this program to finish. Once the payments are selected, then the payment instruction will be produced. So it's the same two invoices that were picked up because we had avoided this payment. So this is good, and we know we can go back to the dashboard and go to need action. Select take action, enter the no print, and select print. Let's wait for that payment instruction also. So as you can see also, when we submitted that, when we clicked on print, the only program that was launched was for payment instruction. When we submitted the other requests, when we submitted the payment process request, a couple of programs were launched. We have this auto select, then this scheduled payment selection, and then we had this bill payment, and then finally the payment instruction. All right, so all this other stuff has been done. So when we select on that print option, the only thing that's being done is now producing the payment instruction, which we also already have here. Okay, so that's completed, and now we can go to need action, and status is submitted for printing and take action. So from here we can go to record print status. Okay, now here is a page where we record spoiled documents and skipped documents. So going back to our example, we have for spoiled documents, spoiled checks, we have payments 1, 2, 3 going on checks 1, 2, and 3, for instance. And then we said check 2 was spoiled. All right. So what we would do is we would say that document number from 2 to 2, because it's only number 2. So if we had maybe 2 and 3 was spoiled, then you would put the range from 2 to 3. Okay. So only actually in our case we only have 1. All right. So I don't know why I'm putting 2 there, but now I'm using the example. So we would put document 2 through to 2. Okay. And then what would happen is that once we go to the end, to completion, the payments on check 1 and check 3 will be made, but the payments on check 2 will not be made, and they can be paid using the next payment process request, or the next pay run. In our case, what we would do is we just have, maybe this is the only check here and it was spoiled, so we'll just put 1 through 1 and update print status. Okay. Oh, not 1 but 7. This is the document number. All right. So these are the numbers that you use. In that example, we are saying 1, 2, 3. So the document numbers will be 3 of them, 1, 2, and 3. So you put the range for the documents that were spoiled. In this case, for us, it will be 7 through 7, and update print status. Okay, it says here printed documents 1, spoiled documents 1. So if we complete this, it's as if we won't have done any payment, because we only had 1 document, and that document is going to be marked as spoiled, and those payments will not be made. Okay, so let me go back. It's the same thing we do if we want to record skipped documents. Okay, so we would come here and we would say, so in our example, I said we had 1, 2, and 3. So you were printing 3 checks, 2 was skipped. Okay, so you'd come and say here, document number 2 through to 2 was skipped. That way, Oracle would know that the pay, whatever was supposed to go to 2 went to 3, and it will also know that 2 is still available. It is not spoiled, it was just skipped, so it's still available to be used, and it can be used on another payment. And then you would go ahead and update print status. Oh, I keep doing this, using numbers that do not exist. So 7 through 7, update print status. Okay, and actually once you do that, it will say here that whatever was supposed to go to 7, now it went to 8. You can see it also has updated this. All right. So when you, in our case here where we have only one document, if you go ahead and confirm this, the payments will have been made, but this will update the correct check where that payment was made. Okay. So you click on continue to continue and apply to confirm. All right. So we have seen how to confirm a payment process request, and we also saw how our modified template came into action. And this is the whole tree or the whole path for taking the payment process request to the end. So we're going to continue from there in our next session. Bob, unless you have something to add, we can end this session there.